Good evening, everyone. Welcome to STEM Powerhouse, exploring opportunities at HBCUs and beyond, brought to you by Liberated Success and the Aspen Institute Science and Society Program. We're excited to have you here for this important conversation, highlighting the transformative role of historically Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, in shaping STEM leaders. So my name is Ebony Tyler, and I am the founder and executive director of Liberated Success. We are a youth career development nonprofit. Our mission is to nurture young adults in their transition from high school to careers. And our vision is a world where social capital and economic mobility are accessible to all. And I believe this is possible if we help young people be intentional in their career and educational choices. I have over 23 years experience in education in various capacities as a vocational rehabilitation counselor, a community engagement coordinator, and an academic counselor at Newman University in Pennsylvania. My education at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore is foundational to my career, my growth as a human, and my love for HBCUs. Thank you all for being here tonight. And with that, my co-moderator, Dr. Sheets, will welcome you as well.
Right, thank you, Ebony, and good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Shalom Sheets, a scientist, educator, public health practitioner, and STEM advocate. I serve as the Associate Director of the Aspen Institute Science and Society Program and an Associate Professor at Tulane University, where I train future public health and STEM leaders. I am also a proud alumna of Spelman College and come from a family of HBCU graduates, making this panel that much more special. The Aspen Institute's Our Future is Science, also known as OFIS initiative, connects students with opportunities to harness science for healthier, stronger, and more resilient communities. OFIS bridges science with real-world, amplifying underrepresented voices in STEM. OFIS is supported by the Amgen Foundation, the Samueli Foundation, Welcome Fund, 3M, and the Carson Family Charitable Trust. Website and social media to learn more about OFIS and our virtual mentorship program, and soon to be launched educational campaign. Over the next hour, we'll collectively showcase how HBCUs serve as powerful catalysts for success in STEM. Whether you're a high school student exploring colleges, an undergraduate mapping out your next steps, or a graduate student seeking inspiration, we hope that you leave tonight both informed and empowered. Before we hear from our panelists, we'll start with some HBCU trivia, which I love, and a brief video to ensure that we all have a shared knowledge and shared foundation.
So let's take a moment to hear from you. What comes to mind when you hear HBCU? Family, school days, predominantly Black college, community, excellence, Black excellence, homecoming, diversity, pride, the show A Different World. Yes, coronations, leadership, family, legacy, pride, Founders Day, pride, inclusion, family. So thank you for these responses. These are really great responses. So a historically Black college and university is defined by the Higher Education Act of 1965 as an institution established before 1964 with the principal mission of educating Black Americans, accredited by a nationally recognized agency. But beyond this definition, HBCUs are centers of culture, excellence, and resilience, founded out of necessity to provide educational access to when Black Americans were denied an education. And so today, HBCUs remain the pillars of leadership and opportunity. So in this brief video that we're going to share, Dr. Henry Louis Gates will provide further historical context around HBCUs. And we want to note that we do not own the right to this video.
Before the Civil War, educational opportunities for free Black children, particularly in higher education, were quite limited, even in the North. Some students, however, managed to leap over the hurdles standing in their way. John Chavis, a free Black man from North Carolina, was the first African-American college student. Chavis studied as a private student under the president of the College of New Jersey, now known as Princeton University, and continued his studies at Liberty Hall Academy in Virginia. In 1862, Mary Jane Patterson became the first African-American woman to receive a bachelor's degree when she graduated from Oberlin College. She became a teacher and then the first Black principal at the Preparatory School for Negroes, now known as Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. Before the Civil War, discrimination against Black students led to the founding of the first Black colleges in the North, including Wilberforce in Ohio and Lincoln and Cheney universities in Pennsylvania.
Cheney University in Philadelphia is the first historically Black college or university. It was founded in 1837 as the Institute of Colored Youth. The founding of that institution transforms educational possibility for African-American people.
The era saw huge growth in the number of Black colleges and universities, from Howard and Fisk to Hampton and Tuskegee.
Historically Black colleges and universities take African-Americans who struggle in our failing public schools, turn them into a rigorous scholar with access to a future who has earned the credentials for a college degree.
HBCUs arose as a direct response to racial discrimination, providing opportunities for Black students to gain a higher education and enter the middle class. According to the New York Times, HBCUs make up only 3% of colleges across the country, and yet at least 50% of Black doctors, 80% of Black judges have graduated from their classes. There remains a significant racial gap in degree attainment, but this gap is shrinking thanks to Black institutions and to increased Black enrollment in historically white colleges and universities.
Okay, so we have another trivia question. Let's see. Can anyone tell me how many HBCUs are there and why are most of them in the South?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
To my knowledge, there are 107 HBCUs, and they are mostly populated in the South because in the South, integrated education was strictly prohibited for a very long time, so they built their own schools.
Thank you for that response. So today there are over 100 HBCUs, nearly evenly split between public and private institutions. And most are four-year colleges awarding bachelor's degrees, with many offering graduate and professional programs like Fisk University, Howard University, and Meharry Medical College, for example. And so why most of them are located in the South is because well before the Civil War, Black Americans had virtually no access to higher education, especially in the South. So even after emancipation, segregation laws barred access to white institutions, and HBCUs were founded to fill in the gap, particularly in Southern states.
Thank you, Ebony, for this history lesson. And so now we're excited to introduce Ilana, a freshman at Hampton University, who's a biology pre-med major, an OFIS alumna, and Liberated Success Scholar. We have Jaden Cheats, a junior at Spelman College, who's psychology and also pre-med, and a Rush Scholar at the University of Wisconsin, and an Emory Global Health Fellow. Michaela Maxwell, a Hampton University alumna, and currently a doctoral student at Vanderbilt University, biomedical and biological sciences focus. And last but not least, we have Dr. Melissa Porter. Melissa is a dentist by training and attended Alabama A&M for her undergraduate education, Meharry Medical College for her degree in dentistry. And after practicing, she returned back to Meharry as a pediatric dentistry resident. Okay, so this is a powerhouse panel, and let's give them a warm welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And this question is for all of our panelists. What inspired you to pursue a STEM field, And how did attending an HBCU shape that journey?
Everyone, again, my name is Michaela Maxwell. I graduated Hampton University in the spring of 2024 and then jumped into a PhD program at Vanderbilt University. Growing up, my mom was that mom who was like, she was on top of it. She was like, you were going to do something. And when I was not chasing a soccer ball, when she put me in soccer, she definitely put me in Girl Scouts. And through Girl Scouts, I was able to see STEM, and I was able to see STEM in a lot of different routes. I also felt like growing up in school, it was put in our faces a lot in terms of like STEM, you could go into engineering, you could do this, you could do that. And I was just always that person who was asking why, like getting on the teacher's nerves, asking why. Why does this happen? Why does that happen? And that really led me into STEM, because STEM is all about asking why. Like there's so many questions that can be answered no matter what field that you want to go into. And I take pride in always like trying to learn and trying to discover new things. What going to a HBCU, how that helped me shape that journey is the fact that for whatever goal I had in mind, because when I started out at Hampton, I wanted to go into the medical field, and then I did a switch and decided to become a researcher instead. But whatever I wanted to do, the question was not a matter of, can you do it? Like, can you? It was, how can we get you there? You will do it. With anything that I wanted to do, it was really not a matter of, you're not intelligent. Do we think you can make it? Do we think, no, 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 no. It was, you want to be a doctor? We're getting you to be a doctor. Point blank, period. When I decided I wanted to go into research, it was, you want this PhD? We are going to get you to that PhD. And I feel like that is a common theme that I have seen around, my peers. I have a couple of friends in the program with me who went to HBCUs. And they also felt that same push of, no one is questioning you in terms of being a Black woman or being a Black person in STEM. No one is questioning your capabilities. We are setting you up and putting you in a system where we know you can succeed intellectually, but we're going to help you navigate things that you may not know how to.
Right. Thanks so much for that perspective. And I apologize to everyone, my camera, I'm having tech difficulties right now, but as long as you can hear my voice, that's all that matters. So let's hear from our current HBCU students. We'll start with Ilana and then Jaden.
Yeah, like Miss Michaela said, we both go to, well, I go to Hampton now. She's a graduate, but it's really a nice community, and feeling that you have a lot of help and options. I know I struggle in math a little bit, but going to the math lab and things like that have helped me, and they're very on their emails being like, hey, you need help, we can help you. And I think it's a really great community. I came into STEM just because I liked, just learning about every single aspect of something. And going to a humanities high school, I wasn't able to get into as much STEM as possible. And I always knew I was going to go into something in the science field. So that's one of my reasons for choosing my bio major. And then I always was interested in the medical field, so I knew that I would need that to then be able to join medical school. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Jaden.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Jaden. I'm a junior psychology pre-med major at Spelman College, and I'm super happy to be here today. I would definitely say that one of the reasons why I embarked on the STEM major is because I knew that I wanted to go into the healthcare field. In 2019 or 2018, I had a horrible injury, and it set me back for almost 4 years. I had multiple very challenging surgeries and years of physical therapy back to back to back. And so that's when I knew, okay, I wanted to go into the medical field. And in order to do that, I knew that I needed some type of STEM background. However, I decided to take the psychology route for STEM. And so I did that because I knew in my journey, it was just as mental as it was physical. So dealing with health conditions, it affected my mental health as it did just like being hurt all the time, And so throughout that process, I decided to take the psychology route so that I could cater to my patients in the future, as in being able to hold space and conversations for the mental challenges that can come with dealing with the health condition. And I would say that Spelman has been phenomenal in helping me kind of gear like my why in a sense. I know that going through medical school, it's going to be really difficult. Like you're going to face challenges, especially undergraduate, your STEM courses. But Spelman does a really good job of facilitating that support to where you have guidance, you have advisors, the health careers program, as well as the teachers are really pushing for your success. And as Ilana and Michaela said, I feel in general at HBCUs, but I can speak specifically for Spelman, the teachers want you to succeed. They're going to give you the resources. They're going to give you the time. They're going to, ask you to show up and extend different opportunities towards you or to you. And so I definitely say that that's one of the ways that attending Spelman has definitely shaped my journey.
All right, this is great. I see a lot of synergies across the, I guess, testimonies that each of you has shared. And so I'll pass it on to Melissa, who is who's graduated from HBCUs twice and is back at one of her HBCUs right now. So this is a very interesting perspective. But Melissa, can you shed light on this particular question? You're on mute. On mute. How about we go on to the next question, and what we'll do is we'll work in the background with you on tech support.
So being an HBCU graduate, I can attest to it being a very unique experience. How has community and culture at your HBCU contributed to your personal and academic growth? And so let's start with Michaela.
Yeah, so academically, I felt very, very challenged. I was able to learn different things, and especially I was a biochemistry major at Hampton. So going from, general chemistry to organic chemistry to pea chemistry, like that was rigor was included in everything that I did. And one of the perks that I know for me, especially with biochemistry kind of being a smaller program as well, is that when professors spot potential, they foster into potential. I know that I was given opportunities because of the dedication and potential that I showed that I know some of my other students weren't able to have. I was conducting research on my sophomore year. I was, shown internships I could apply for. At Hampton, we have a lot of like BSMD programs. Like I said, I was interested in becoming a medical doctor first. And I was applying to those programs and I got into those programs. Just like my previous question, like the previous question where I said, it was not a matter of can you, but how will you, and we're gonna get you there. Personally, especially switching from an HBCU mindset to now I'm at Vanderbilt, which is more of a PWI. I thank Hampton so much for allowing me the time and space to develop in myself as a Black woman. I feel so comfortable in myself, which is something that I feel like you can get that other places, but the learning curve may be sharper. As I walk into these spaces now at Vanderbilt in these predominantly white spaces, I can say that I don't have any sense of I don't feel like I belong here. I, don't feel like I can't keep up. Nothing that has to do with Michaela Maxwell as a being. I feel like they can't touch. You can't touch this. I'm here and I got here on my own accord. And that is what Hampton taught me how to do and how to walk into a room and have an abundance of confidence, even though I'm an introvert. But to be able to do that and not feel threatened by like being in that predominantly white space.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Porter, your audio is working now, so let's circle back to you. What inspired you to pursue a STEM field? And then also, did you have any specific mentors or programs that influenced your path in STEM?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Melissa Porter. It's so nice to be here. So thank you to the Aspen Institute for the invitation. I was inspired to pursue a career in STEM at 6 years old. My grandmother took me to see Mae Jemison, who is an astronaut. She's the first female African-American astronaut at Oakwood University. Having the opportunity to meet her let me know that I wanted to be three things. I wanted to be a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I wanted to be a doctor, and I also wanted to be an astronaut. I have accomplished two of the three things. So I'm an AK and I'm also a doctor. However, I have not made it to space. That's still on my list. But I attended Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University for undergrad, and it was an amazing opportunity. A very close-knit biology department. I'm the sixth generation who has gone to that school. While there, I had professors that were absolutely amazing. A lot of them had aspirations to pursue careers in healthcare professions, but for whatever reasons, they were not able to attain them. So they were very hard and they supported us endlessly. They found us opportunities to help us be able to achieve the goals that we set. So I'll say that I had one professor, his name was Dr. Razi Hassan. We still keep in touch today. He was the department chair for our chemistry department. He knew that as a freshman, I had aspirations of being a doctor. At the time, I wanted to be an OBGYN. And so he told me about this program that they had at Meharry. He said, it's a BSMD program. It's the first year. I think that you will be an amazing candidate for this program. So he wrote a letter of recommendation. And the next thing I knew, I got an acceptance letter. It was 6 of us and we were all freshmen. We matriculated that program. It took 3 years, but I attended that program as well as an HCOP program at UConn, and the rest is history. I'm now a doctor because of that. Although I changed from being an OBGYN, I did pursue a health career in dentistry. So.
Thank you. Thank you. And so now I'm going to ask this question to our current HBCU students. Jaden and Alana, what STEM related extracurriculars or internships have impacted you thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. I can go first. So I'm someone who likes to just stay busy. That's always been kind of like a part of who I am. So I've had an internship every summer and every winter break. I'd say some of the most impactful internships that I have had, the first one being with Lifetime Sciences. I was working as a phlebotomist. And so I'm someone who loves kids always. I teach kids how to cook, like that's my main like job. But for this part of my internship, I was actually with individuals during end of life care, so hospice and memory loss care, memory loss facilities, and I'm blanking on the word, but communities like that. And so therefore it was a completely different experience and something that I wasn't used to. And so it was at that moment that I recognized like life is like actually really big. Like I focus on myself and like the little kids, but like it goes on past that. And so I recognize the importance of having different specialists in whether public health or actual like practicing doctors in those spaces for every stage of life. So I think that was something that was super impactful. And then secondly, I would definitely say working as a community health worker. During my first year, I was able to collaborate with Meharry Medical College as well as Baptist Health Sciences University in Memphis, Tennessee to gain my community health worker certification. And so from that, I was able to be a community health worker at Music City Prep Clinic, which is a clinic in Nashville that provides treatment and prevention techniques for those living with HIV and AIDS. So being in an environment, it was a different environment that I was used to, but at the same time, a lot of my patients were Spanish speaking. And so I recognized that in order to be the best physician that I can be and reach as many people as possible, I had to expand my palette and I had to learn new language. I had to be able to adapt and create partnerships with the people around me. And so from there, I ended up picking up my minor in Spanish. And that's been something that I've been currently just continuing to foster, continuing to build so that I can be the best physician that I can be. So, yeah.
For me, since I just started, I'm just looking for summer internships, but I have joined 2 clubs on campus, Black Girls and White Coats, and also MAPS, which is basically another club where it's for minority students that want to join pre-health. And I think just being able to see all of us black students just trying to go and get our degrees to then later go into pre-health, it's honestly so inspiring, and it's also really uplifting. You know, sometimes when you're studying for those late nights, you're often like, "Mm," but like you think about all those other people that are studying too, that are struggling as well, and being able to have solace with all those other people makes it a lot easier to get on with those long nights. So I'll get back to you if we have another update about the internships that I do over the summer, though.
Lots of great insights there, and just wonderful to hear about your mentorship. Ayana, you're a freshman. Jaden, you're a junior. How do you balance academic rigor of the STEM courses that you take with campus life?
I'll go first. I just keep a planner on me. I if I didn't have my planner, I don't know what I would do. Like just yesterday, I thought I had a test, but it's next week, and then I put that in my planner because I didn't want to forget it. So honestly, I between my clubs that I attend and that is how I'm busy just for freshman year, because I knew I wanted to focus on my studies, but I'll probably will do more later, but I'm not that busy. But I will say keeping my planner with me at all times is how I stay organized and how I keep on top of my tests that I have that are upcoming.
Well, let me just tell you that your planner will continue to be important in your life, because I have to live by mine. So, so it's good that you're starting that type of behavior now. All right, Jaden.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that developing like a balance is going to be, it's challenging, and it's really also very challenging to maintain it as well. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of had to grapple with kind of matriculating through my junior year, or from freshman year to junior year. Starting out as a first year, I was the same way. I was directly in my books and only in my books. And I recognize that that's not what I want to look back on. Like, oh, my college experience, yeah, I had all A's. Like, no, I don't care. Like, that's not what needs to be the highlight, you know? And so throughout that, I was then able to make the shift to where I was able to be in my books. I was still taking 20 credit hours and 18 credit hours, but also going out with my friends, doing dinners, going out, seeing the city, like actually truly enjoying my college experience. And so after making that shift, I actually ended up doing better in my classwork, and I felt less stressed. So I think when you're trying to identify like how to balance social life and campus life, it's something that's unique and individual to you. But I do think that it's important to have both, because if you only have one, then you're still feeling like you're either missing out on something or not reaching your full like college experience that everybody wants to have in a sense. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing your perspective. All right. So my next questions are for Michaela and Melissa. So looking back, what do you wish you had known as an undergraduate pursuing STEM?
Oh, I could go first. Yeah, I think for me, I definitely wanted, yes, like not to view the world so small or so narrow. Literally the world is your oyster. And there's so many things in the field of STEM, and I'll, do a little shout out as somebody who's not in the medical field. And it seems like between, Ilana and Jaden, they're also interested in medicine, and we have Dr. Porter. But there are so many things that you can do within STEM that is not going to medical school and becoming a medical doctor, or going to dental school and becoming a dentist or a PT or whatever. Like, there you can do so many things. I know as a girl, I love makeup, the NARS, the Fenty, I love it. We need people in that area. Like, we need people who look like us in that area. Girls, we lay on our edges. We need people in that area. There are so many things. Food science, we need people that look like us everywhere. And as someone who came in with a very narrow mind, like the only thing I can do in STEM and help people is be a doctor, you don't have to think that way. And that's something that I wish I would have told myself when I was a freshman.
Okay, Michaela, I love everything that you just said, and it's so true. And so a lot of people think that, yeah, like, okay, if I'm a bio major, I have to be a doctor, I have to be a dentist, I have to be a nurse. It's fine, do those things, but learn about all that you can do. I have friends that are scientists and they're game designers for like Sony. You know, like there's so many ways that you can use your talents. And so what I'm going to do is put a link in the chat a little later for the Amgen Foundation's initiative called I Am a Scientist, because it shows all the many, many things that you can, your STEM backgrounds. And then one of the initiatives that we have at Our Future is, I'm sorry, at the Aspen Institute Science and Society program, which is the parent program of Our Future is Science, is that we have an initiative called Discover Discovery. And so you can learn about, you know, when scientists first learned the idea of discovery. And so I encourage you all to listen to their stories because it may inspire you one day and help you think outside of the box around what you can do as a STEM, you know, for a STEM career. So thank you for that, Michaela. And now on to you, Dr. Porter.
It's funny, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I would say the exact same thing. I came into college with a one-track mind, and that was I was going to be an OBGYN. So I came in already having my career selected. It wasn't until my senior year, second semester, that I said, you know, I worked at a gynecologist's office. I didn't really like it. And senior year, second semester is kind of late in the game if you know anything about medical school. And it's like, this is not really what I want to do. So I had a dental appointment of all things. And I was telling my dentist, who I'd seen for many years, that, you know, this is not what I want to do. Do you have any suggestions? And she said, have you ever considered dentistry? And I hadn't. And I never had a bad dental appointment. My parents were very committed to us going to the dentist every 6 months. And so I shadowed her for 1 week and I was sold. Dentistry provided me with the options and the opportunities that I thought medicine would. I like to talk. My friends will tell you, she really likes to talk. So I like to form relationships with people. Medicine doesn't really allow for that anymore. Everybody's on a strict time schedule, but as the dentist, I'm there. I'm doing the work for you. You can't always talk back to me, but I can always communicate with you and make sure that I'm alleviating any pain that you have. So I would tell my younger self, don't come in thinking that you have to do this specific thing. Come in, explore all of the opportunities, all of the options that are on the table for you, and just run with it. Explore everything.
I love this. And these are the stories, these are the experiences that more people need to hear about. And I think it just speaks to why this panel is important and why more people need to hear about these experiences. So thank you, Michaela and Dr. Porter, for that. All right, so I have Melissa, I'm going to put you in the hot seat again. So how did practicing dentistry influence your decision to pursue a pediatric residency? And what advantages has training at HBCUs offered? And what advice would you give students considering graduate or specialized training? So I know that was a mouthful, but hopefully you captured all of that.
So I decided to return back to school because as a dental student, like I told you, I usually have this one-track mind. I come in with a plan. My plans never pan out the way that I expect them to. So I decided coming in that I wanted to see kids. But during my 3 years of dental school, clinical years of dental school, I never considered adult dentistry. And by my senior year, I actually enjoyed doing dentistry. I like doing root canals. I like doing dentures. I like doing crowns. I liked everything. Whereas I thought I would only want to see children. And so I sat down with my pediatric dentistry mentor. Her name was Carolyn Williams. And I told her, I said, you know, I don't know if I want to jump straight into peds or not because I do enjoy doing some adult dentistry. So she said, the best thing for you to do would be to consider doing a GPR program, which is a general practice residency. It's a culmination of everything. It's like family practice. You see children, you see adults. You're able to do all aspects of dentistry and figure out what you really enjoy doing the most. And so I did that, and I had a scholarship from undergrad dentistry that I had to do an obligation for the federal government at an FQHC, a federally qualified health center, for 3 years. I enjoyed doing it so much that I did it for 5 years. And so at the end of that 5-year obligation, I said, you know, I still have the same passion for children that I had as a freshman dental student. This is the time for me to specialize. So the opportunity presented itself and I took it. I have no regrets, although sometimes I do miss doing a root canal. Sometimes I do miss doing a denture. Sometimes I do miss doing an extraction, but there are still opportunities for me to do that. So even though I'm going to be a specialist in a few months, I still have days like Oral Health Day, which are community-centered health days where I don't have to see children. I can see whoever I want to. I'm ultimately still a dentist. Although I will have more specialized training, I still have the basics. So I would say don't limit yourself again, because I keep putting myself in these boxes and I keep being shown that, you know, this isn't where you absolutely have to be. But as far as my training at an HBCU, this is my second opportunity to have training at an HBCU, and I feel like there is no place like one. The support system that you will find at an HBCU is none, there is no PWI that will ever compare to it. The professors, they don't care what your race is, they don't care what your ethnicity is, they don't care what your gender is. They're going to be there to support you. They look at you as a person. I had colleagues in residency, my first residency, who trained at PWIs. They did not have half of the experiences that we had here, but they also, like, they had never done a denture on a live patient. They had never done a crown. They had never done a root canal. And I'm like, these are the things that make you be a dentist. So I will say that a lot of my professors had the mindset, when you go to an HBCU, they think, some people have the perception that you are less than or that you're not as competent as your counterparts. We actually are far more competent in all arenas because we have that mindset. We have that go-getter attitude. You know that people think that way of you, so you try to strive and prove them wrong. So you're actually far more competent than your counterparts. So I got an opportunity to see that firsthand when I was teaching my classmates who were already dentists like me how to do dentures, how to do crowns, how to do root canals. And it's like, how did you get to the same place that I am and you've not had these experiences? So I would say, like, that's what HBCUs teach you. They, with less supplies, with less technology, you're going to still be as competent or more competent than your counterparts. It was the best experience and I would not change it for the world.
Thank you, Melissa. And you make a lot of great points. And I've heard the story that you just told about, you know, sometimes being a bit more competent than your counterparts. I've heard that firsthand from my mother, who is a graduate of Fisk University, class of 1969. She did an exchange 1 year, I think it was at Walla Walla University, somewhere on the West Coast. And I think whatever she was doing in the lab, they all broke down. And so none of the students knew how to do whatever they were doing, that task, the manual way. It was easy for her. She knew how to do it. At the time, her school didn't have all the resources, but they literally learned like the way to do it without the technology. All right. And so everyone looked down on her when she came in, like she wouldn't, the same story that you told, like she wouldn't be able to do the things, but she did all the things even better than her peers. So I'm sure you all may hear that from other, if you talk to enough HBCU students, you may hear, a similar story. So thank you for that. All right, and Ebony.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. Although my career is not in STEM, it's in counseling, but same exact experience, right? Totally prepared at the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore in undergraduate, got to grad school at Hofstra and knew things that grad students didn't know. So that just speaks to the excellence of our universities. Okay, so last set of questions for the evening. And so this is for all of the panelists. What skills or mindsets are most important for students pursuing STEM? And what advice do you have for students who are uncertain about their path?
I can go first. So I'd say the advice that I have for students who are unsure about the STEM path would be just do it. Truthfully, because I feel like, as Dr. Porter has mentioned, like, you can always change your trajectory. Like, it doesn't have to be linear. It doesn't have to be a one path like direction. If you get into the science courses or organic chemistry and you're like, I actually hate this and I don't want to do it, don't do it. But at least you can say that you actually did, like, put the effort in and you don't have any regrets when you leave your undergraduate space. And then I'd say, as far as a life skill or mindset, something that I'm actively working on and something that I tell everyone is to not compare yourself to other people. I think for me, growing up in a household where everyone's doing something, everyone is successful doing something, and then going to Spelman where people are writing books, doing presentations, speaking across the country, like it's easy to fall into that category of being inadequate or not doing enough, and recognize that my journey is my own and I have to take pride in that and be present and content with where I am right now. And so I tell that to anyone, honestly, as wherever you're going, whether before you get to undergraduate, your undergraduate experience, or after, to just be happy where you are and recognize that your journey is your own and everyone else is doing what they're supposed to be doing, but only focus on yourself.
I think that was absolutely amazing, Jaden, because I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you said. The advice that I would give the students is to take advantage of every opportunity. Like, don't go into a room thinking that you know everything, because there's somebody else that knows more than you, and you have the opportunity to learn and grow from them. I go into rooms with dental students now who are doing things that I did 15 years ago, it seems like, and I'm learning things from them, so it's a two-way street. It can reaffirm what you know. It can give you a different perspective on what you know, or it can redirect you to things that you didn't know, because this is science. It's changing. Every day it's evolving into something new. So there's something that I didn't learn 15 years ago that they are learning. And so it's a two-way street. There's always an opportunity to learn and grow. I would also tell those with uncertainty that you're capable of attaining anything. Like, whatever goals you set, those are your goals. But how you get there is on your own path. Nobody else is going to dictate that for you. So you won't be the first person. You won't be the last person. There's a support system there for you. So take advantage of the people that are around you, whether that's you identifying mentors, whether that's you joining clubs with people with careers that you think you want to be in. Getting those earlier experiences and early exposure is going to be key to your success. And the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want to. I would say that to my younger self for sure.
Oh, okay, you can go first. Oh, okay, I'll go.
Girl,
Okay.
I play.
Okay, I guess for advice, I would say that the journey is going to be long. I think the 4 years, they may feel fast, but they're gonna be long, how you feel, and you just have to get through it. Because I think some people, yes, Hampton's great, but some people are talking about dropping out. So you just have to focus on yourself and realize that nobody's going to get this degree but you, and that you need to utilize all the resources that you have to be able to use them. That's something that I'm trying to get used to, using all the resources here at Hampton and not feeling like what I'm doing is like not a burden, but I'm asking for too much. But then I'm realizing I'm here. Obviously, I can ask for too much, and just asking for help overall. So I guess that's one thing, to ask for help, if you need it, and then also to realize that the journey that I am embarking on is going to be long. So, what was the other question? The other question was mindsets. Oh, yeah. Having a good, just realizing that what you're doing is going to be worth it in the long run. I feel like that's a really good mindset to have.
Yeah, and Alana girl, and to anybody in college, you are not a burden. You paying to be there. Even if you are on scholarship, you are basically paying to be there, because I know you are spending money. If you are spending money, you deserve something. Get everything that you want at that university, because I still got student loans from Hampton, even though I just graduated like 6 months ago. But yeah, one thing I would definitely say is the timeline, and I'm someone who's a very type A person. The timeline, throw it out the window at this point. Try everything. If you are uncertain, try everything that you want to try. Like, the world is yours. Try everything. I feel like as young people, and it's also the older I get, the more I'm like, it's so crazy to sit there and tell an 18-year-old to like figure everything out. And then they turn 22. It's a lot. So try everything. I mean, I'm sitting in this PhD program. I'm someone who came from undergrad, but there are people who are 25, 28. The same goes for other like doctoral programs and other graduate programs. Take your time. If you say, I did this degree, I don't know if I really like the research, let me go work in the lab to see if I like it. Take the time and do that. Take the time to be able to try everything. Your timeline is your own. We have a 38-year-old woman in our class, and she gonna get her PhD. Like, take your time. You can do everything in your own time. Do not compare yourself to other people, and don't compare yourself to the internet. Because I know I'm over here searching up PhD on TikTok and comparing myself to people who don't know me from a can of paint. The second thing in terms of mindset, you have to have a growth mindset. And for me, how I define a growth mindset is, what do you do when you stumble? What do you do when you fall? My mom would tell me, like, it's not about your pitfall, but it's about your pivot. So what are you gonna do? Okay, the test, you looked at the test, you said, ooh, the test got me, it ate me up. What are you gonna do the next time? Are you going to study harder? Are you going to go into groups? You can't just look at it and shrug your shoulders and give up, because it's a long and arduous process. So it's really about how are you going to turn something negative into a learning moment and a growing moment. And that will get you through the tough times, because STEM will try you. It will try you all the time. But when it works out, it's so beautiful. It's actually so fun.
Thank you all for your input there. You all were, I think, spot on. I mentioned earlier that I'm a professor at a university, and the things that you're saying are definitely things that my students need to hear. Some of the things that my friends that are in school probably need to hear. I want to add my 2 cents on this question as well. And just want to point out that because, I work with students all the time, I often see that they let others put limits on them. Don't let others do that. I had a student who wanted to apply for some type of fellowship. And she said that at her school, and it was actually a PWI, I guess her counselor advisor was like, well, only 25% or 20% of people get this fellowship. So I was like, well, how many fellowships have you ever applied for? And then she was like, 4. And I was like, well, how many did you get? And she said, 3. And I said, oh, so you've gotten 75% of the fellowships that you've applied for. That's a pretty good record. And so when I reframed that, she saw it totally different. And she ended up applying for the fellowship and got it. And so this was like an intern of mine. I wasn't one of her professors at her university, but that reframing is really, I think, important. And it also speaks to what Michaela was saying around, having a growth mindset. And so, if there's what I like to tell my students is that, it's okay to feel a little discomfort. When there's a little discomfort, there's growth. Now, we don't want you out there stressed out, and all of that, but just acknowledge that when there's, again, discomfort, you're growing in some way, you're learning something new, okay? I had another thought, but I've forgotten, but oh, Ebony, did you have another question?
We have a question in the chat from Angelina. And so I'll read it. This has been an amazing, thank you so much to all of our panelists. How are you staying positive in this political climate? She's a 4th-year PhD in biology, and she's hoping to get a federal position. And now she feels like the option is being ripped away. And she's also around a lot of people who view negatively around association with DEI, and it's causing stress. So I believe the question is, how do you stay positive in this political climate? Now, I can offer some 2 cents, but
I'll say
what?
for me, I hope that in 4 years things will be back on track. That's that's when I graduate, so that's how I'm staying positive. Yeah.
Yeah, Angelina, honestly, me and you, girl, we're seeing each other right now. Especially in terms of just the whole NIH and federal funding situation. It's so scary. Um, Me personally, in terms of staying positive, and I've talked to other PIs who kind of have given the same sentiments. Granted, I go to Vanderbilt and we're in the Bible Belt, but it's if you have something spiritual, something like that you can hold on to give you a little bit of hope. I feel like at this point, with all the uncertainty going on, that's where we're at. Because we really don't know what's going to happen. Um, like I really empathize with you because I cannot imagine how stressful this is for you. Like I'm in the position where Vanderbilt's saying they got us covered, and then they send us crazy emails. Um, so in this moment, you know, it's me and Jesus every night, and that's honestly how I'm staying very hopeful in this situation.
I'll say
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll say for me, I just try to focus on why I'm here. I see patients every day. Of course, your patients should not know how you're feeling as a provider. You should be able to go in, treat them, and give them the excellent quality of care that they deserve. So for me, I just try to come in, do my job. I know it's very hard. I read my Bible, I talk on the phone with my family, I do yoga, I meditate. I do everything to get myself centered at home so that when I step foot here on this campus, I'm able to provide the care that I need to. It is very difficult. Every day there is something. I know federal funding for education is a concern. I'm a student right now, so it's a concern for me as well. For our residents, we actually, a lot of them rotate to the VA. We all got the email that we have to submit 5 things to show our productiveness. So we're all being impacted by those things, but don't lose focus of your goals and your insights. Don't forget why you're actually there. Focus on that, and that'll be enough to get you over the hump. This is temporary. There will be so many other challenges that you're going to face, and you can't let any of them derail what you have going for you.
Yeah.
You know what? That's exactly what I was going to say. Stay the course. And so we have a really great question in the chat from Dorinda. And Dorinda's question is, even though I'm 11, are there any specified colleges for biology and medical engineering? So, oh, thank you for being here at 11 years old, strategizing for your future.
I saw your question in advance and I looked up some. I think they're really you're just gonna have to look for programs instead of colleges. There are some like John Hopkins, which is also really good for medical. They also have their medical school as well. Duke University, VCU, which is in Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth University, and University of Virginia. I think you'll have to do well. You got a lot. You low-key have like 7 years, but you have some time to look and see if these program changes. But I think the best thing is going to be looking for the how well the program is instead of a college, because most colleges aren't really based in biomedical engineering because that's like a subset. But like, yeah, look for strong medical programs as well.
Yeah, going off of that, I think as far as biomedical engineering, I know you're 11, so things might shift, but you can also focus on like different medical programs that are available. In a few years, it will, as Ilana was saying, it will be different, and there might be new advances in technology or ways to kind of I guess cater to what you're looking for specifically. But I definitely say that research is going to be the key to everything, and that education is the key to mobility. So whatever you want to do, make sure that you do the research, you're familiar with the program before you take that next step, just so that you know that you're making sure you're making the most effective decision for yourself and putting yourself in a position for success.
All right, I absolutely love this. You all are so insightful. This is great. And again, it's nice to see it from the undergraduate level to the graduate level to the, postgraduate and professional school. I see so much alignment across you all experiences and your recommendations. So this has gone by way too fast, but thank you to our panelists for sharing such valuable insights What we've seen today is that STEM pathways are varied and that there is no single right journey and that you have to make it your own. That's extremely important. And so I'll pass it on to Ebony to thank our panelists and attendees.
So thank you, everyone. This has been so insightful, and I totally wish that this was available 30 years ago when I was in undergrad, right? And so thank you to our panelists, to our attendees, and to our partners for making tonight a success. So as we wrap up, let's revisit some key takeaways. HBCUs are vital to cultivating a diverse STEM leaders, and personal stories from our panelists, right? Highlighting resilience, opportunity, growth mindset, and mentorship. So we appreciate your engagement and we look forward to seeing you at future events. Now, high school students, if you are looking to visit some of these illustrious HBCUs, please check out Liberated Success website. We have a tour to Virginia State, Hampton University, and Shaw and Winston-Salem Universities, April 22nd to the 23rd, leaving out of Middletown, Delaware. Also, please stay connected to Liberated Success and to Our Future is Science for upcoming programs and resources. And please follow us on our websites and social media. And so I'm going to drop our links in the chat. So please visit us.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you all being here tonight. And that concludes our program.